Hi there, I'm Dr. LaQuita and welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about all things in between being and becoming a pharmacist. How you doing? You alright? In this video, we had a good weekend at Pharmacy RPH. We had onboarded some clients and for the favorite cohort, and very excited about that. And I want to come in and spend this month. This month is also recommended by our Pharmacy Moving Forward newsletter. It's a newsletter we offer every week where you get your dose of Naplex and career advice and tools and things of this nature. And this video, we asked our subscribers, we asked the list that, what do you want Dr. LaQuita J to talk about for the month of March? And it was confidence building. So we are going to spend to talk about mindset. And we have dedicated, and we asked, they gave. Now it's for time for us to deliver. And with that, we will be talking about mindset and confidence building tools to get tools throughout this month. Now, if you do not know, I am a Naplex success coach. I help pharmacists shift their mindset. Well, let me start first. I help pharmacists pass the Naplex in 6 months or less by shifting their mindset, strategizing their plan, study effectively for the Naplex exam. And shifting your mindset is very important because no matter how much of a good of a coach I am, if you don't believe you are great, if you don't believe you were designed and destined for greatness, there's no value. So with that being said, I have to always say we got to focus on the mind. And this weekend we do anytime we onboard a new cohort, we do a mindset training. And we did our mindset boot camp. It was really good. So it had me really thinking, because sometimes you just need it. You just need it to keep on going. You need to hear it for yourself. And doing the boot camp, I really realized that mindset is very important. And again, I say, just want to make sure I say this again. Make sure you join Pharmacy Move for a newsletter. I'll link it below. But it's bit.ly/Pharmacy News. And it's really good. I really enjoyed it. But anywho, let's talk about it. Because you're probably dreaming of becoming a registered pharmacist. You probably have had this dream inside of you for years. You put in the work. You put in work to get to pharmacy school. You survived pharmacy school. You poured everything into preparing for the Naplex exam. But then the email comes in. You're very hesitant to open it. Your heart sinks. You get the news that you didn't pass. And at that moment, it really feels like the world is closing in. You might feel embarrassed, defeated, or even question whether you belong in this profession. See, I understand that. Because you start to replay every moment. You're wondering, where did I go wrong? Did I study enough? Am I capable of passing? But the one thing you need to know is, and the one thing I want you to know is that failure is not proof that you're not good enough. Failure is feedback. Failure is truly feedback. And in this video, I'm going to help you redefine what failure really means so you can bounce back even stronger. Failure is not proof that you're not good enough. It is feedback. Most of us were taught that failure is something to be ashamed of. Failure is something bad. Failing means that we're not capable. But in reality, failure is one of the best teachers. It shows us what's working, what's not working, and what needs to change. Think about it. Think about how us as pharmacists, how we adjust medication therapy. I'm pretty sure all of us have done a medication therapy management with a patient, MTM, comprehensive medication review with a patient. And if a patient isn't responding well to a treatment, we don't just throw in a towel and say, well, I guess this treatment just doesn't work for them, so we don't, let me just, forget about it. Or no matter what she do, I don't know what this patient doing. No matter what, the blood pressure just won't go down. I don't know what to do. We don't do that. We don't give up on our patients. We keep trying. We keep moving for them. We adjust their dose. We switch medications. We revisit guidelines. We look up underlying issues. Your Naplex attempt is the same way. If you didn't get the result you wanted, it's not the end. It just means that something in your approach needs adjusting. I had a client, Dr. Taylor. Dr. Taylor, I worked with her a few years ago. Dr. Taylor she was a top student in pharmacy school. I mean, top student. She graduated from undergrad. She even graduated from college earlier. Went into pharmacy school. She graduated with honors. All her professors spoke highly of her. She walked into her first Naplex attempt confident that she had studied, that she studied everything she needed. But when she saw that she didn't pass, she felt like a fraud. She felt like everything that people had been telling her was a lie. She started to think, like, I remember her telling, she's like, I'm just not smart enough. I'm not as smart as I thought I was. And everybody always tell me I'm smart, but I guess I'm not because I didn't pass the exam. That was her mindset. She said, I've done so much for this field, for this to be here. I was the president of this organization. I had this internship. She was, again, that stellar student. And she was saying those things. After she failed the exam for weeks, she even avoided studying because she was afraid to face the possibility of failing again. But then she did something that changed everything. She took a step back and asked, what is this failure teaching me? What is this failure teaching me? Dr. Taylor realized that she had been studying inefficiently. She had been spending hours reading and rereading. When she came to me and I said, oh, how do you study? That's what it was. She had spent hours just reading and rereading. She wasn't actively testing herself. She was just memorizing, not applying. Instead of letting failure define her, I told her we gotta use it as a guide. We came up with practice strategy, so we can't let this failure define you. Use it as the guide. What were the things you did? As the question I tell my clients, and I always say, what did you not do? So we begin understanding what did she do, what did she did, what works best for her, and we started implementing. We started implementing, practicing retrieval techniques. We use our real case scenarios. We started focusing on her understanding instead of memorization of the information. And when Dr. Taylor walked and to retake the exam, she had a different level of confidence. She had a different level of confidence. Because not only did she pass, but she proved to herself that failure was not defining me. It was my feedback. It was my feedback tool. A lot of times people understand, say, Dr. LaQuita, you're a Naplex coach. Yeah. They said, oh, what credentials? What are your credentials? They always want to know. And honestly, board certifications, I have a few. Well, I say I have a few certifications. Are they board certifications? No. I have a vast majority of practice. I worked been contracted with many government organizations. Worked in pharmacy benefits manager roles. Been into that. Been into community pharmacy. Have a diverse background. Very diverse. But all those did not teach me how to be a Naplex coach. What taught me to be a Naplex coach was my failures. Because I understand what it was, what's missing, why it's needed. I understand why when someone first graduates, their mindset of how they're going to approach the exam. I understand someone who failed twice. I understand someone who failed 3 times. Because the point of, again, when you moving forward, but you get knocked back down. And just like Dr. Taylor, it's one of those things. Well, you have to go and look at the feedback. What were we not doing? And especially in Forming RPH. I never forget the first time I helped a client that failed again while being in my program. It was a hit. It was a hurt. But it also was feedback. And one of the feedbacks is saying, when you feel it, when you see something's not right, don't recommend that they take the exam. When you give them this and they perform like that, don't. So it gave me more confidence to really say and really be in my authority. Because like Dr. Taylor, failure didn't mean she wasn't capable. It just meant she needed to shift her approach. And I want you to shift your approach. Shift your approach. What is failure on the Naplex, in your career, in your diet, on your health journey? I want you to take a moment today and rewrite the way you see your failure. Grab a piece of paper. Grab a piece of paper. Grab a piece of paper. I should have even had this on my thing. Grab a piece of paper. Grab it. Grab a piece of paper. And I want you to complete this sentence. Instead of saying failing or I failed, I now see that I learned blank. And because of that, I can now do blank differently. Instead of saying you failed, you say, I now see that I learned blank. And because of that, I can now do blank differently. Instead of saying I failed, I now see that I learned I need to focus more on application of questions rather than just reading. And because of that, I can do more practice problems and time quizzes to prepare. Instead of saying I failed, I now see that I learned that I need to review more. And because of that, I can now apply my knowledge that I reviewed to the exam instead of being reactive, passively taking quizzes to see what information is important. I can now be proactive in answering questions by applying my knowledge. This is a very simple exercise to help you shift your mind from seeing failure as a dead end to seeing it as a stepping stone. Your homework for this week is to complete, and I want you to comment below on this video. I now see that I learned blank. And because of that, I can now do blank differently. Instead of saying you failed the exam, again, what can you do differently? What can you really do differently? Failure isn't the opposite of success. Let me run that back. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. Every pharmacist who has passed the Naplex has faced struggles, doubts, challenges along the way. What matters isn't whether you fail, is what you do next. So I ask you again, what is your failure teaching you? What is your failure teaching you? And once you answer that, you're able to step closer to your breakthrough. If this message spoke to you, comment below. Let me know what's one lesson you're taking from your Naplex journey so far. Let's keep the conversation going. I want to know. Until next time, remember that pharmacy is on live if you are. Now go be great, and I'll see you next week.